Hi there, it's Debbie Anderson here, and I'm here from Inner Liberation Healing, and I'm here today to talk with you about my relationship with the narcissist, and specifically I'm going to talk to you today about who is a narcissistic person. So I hope that this will help you by sharing information and my story about how I survived a relationship with a narcissist and healed. So, I know that many of us have sort of tossed around the word narcissist. I certainly did. And I really didn't know that it meant more than a sort of self-absorbed, self-centered person until I researched it and in fact found out just what a narcissistic personality disordered person is. I'm pretty sure that most of us have used this term frequently. So it might be that you have a friend or a partner who, or even someone at work who puts their desires before you, or maybe you have a manager that cuts you off when you're talking, maybe takes credit for your accomplishments. So these certainly are traits of narcissism at a mild version. However, a true narcissist is someone that has a narcissistic personality disorder, and research does suggest that between 1 and 6% of the population has this disorder, and in fact 50 to 75% of those that have it are male. So what is a narcissistic person? I lived with a narcissistic person for 14 years, and then I spent another 10 years being around him because I had shared custody. So I do understand clearly what a narcissistic person is. So no doubt you've come across jerks in your life, but not all jerks are narcissists. And so just for clarification, here's a definition of what a narcissist is. Someone who has a persistent pattern of grandiosity, a need for admiration, a very limited lack of empathy, and these symptoms usually begin in early childhood. So signs that they are a narcissist. If the definition of narcissistic personality disorder sounds somewhat frighteningly familiar to you, don't get concerned about that yet until you finish listening to this video. A true narcissist will display 5 or more of these characteristics that I'm going to tell you about. So, number 1, a narcissist has an exaggerated form of self-importance, and they believe that they're superior to others without the necessary achievements that go along with that. A narcissist will routinely overestimate their abilities while at the same time they devalue any contributions from anyone else. They may act surprised when they don't get the praise that they feel they deserve, and often if they haven't achieved success, they'll find a way to blame others but never take any of that responsibility themselves. So I remember talking with my ex, and we were talking about real estate, and he was talking as though he was an actual real estate agent, and he would talk about many things like this as though he knew everything there was to know about the subject, and he was the authority on that, but of course he wasn't. And he had no real knowledge about real estate in the first place. Number 2 is a narcissist believes they're special or unique, and so it's okay to think that you're special, but the narcissists take this to the extreme, and they believe that they're so incredibly special that they can only be understood by other special people. They extend, I remember my ex extending this to professionals, and competing with a therapist that I was attending therapy with him, which in a later video I can tell you that that's not a good idea. So my ex was able to talk to the therapist as though they were colleagues, and he was able to use his manipulation and deception and lying to convince the therapist of many things, none of them good. Number 3 is a narcissist requires excessive admiration. So they seem to love you if you are adoring them and loving them. They seem wonderful, showering you with large amounts of attention and gifts. And this all goes well until you kind of get sick of it. And then you see this mean streak that can come out, which can be cruel and even scary, for sure. So I experienced this with my ex, but of course he only did this behind closed doors. And our relationship started off with what seemed to be like a very instant connection with each other. I continued to give him the admiration that he called, that he needed, and this is because narcissists don't have the ability to create this energy within themselves, and it's called narcissistic supply. It comes in many different forms, which I can tell you about in another video as well. So number 4 is a narcissist has a sense of entitlement, and they often don't believe that rules apply to them. They expect everything, and they're very unappreciative when they get it. So I remember my ex needing to have things always his way. For example, when we would be in the car, he would always have to have the radio station at the channel that he chose. And in fact, I wasn't even allowed to touch the dials in the car. Another example is he would cook a meal when he felt like it. And he didn't clean up anything afterwards because he felt that that was beneath him, for the same reason that he didn't vacuum more than one time in 14 years because all of this was beneath him. Number 5 is narcissists lack empathy, so they're not able to empathize with someone else's pain or struggles. On the surface, it looked as though my ex was, supportive and caring when he was alone with me. That wasn't the case. He was very controlling, opinionated, and extremely insensitive. He always had a way of bringing everything back to himself. If I had a sore throat, if I was sick, he would tell me all about his symptoms, how sick he was, and he had absolutely no ability to be caring or kind or show warmth. He would only want to talk about himself. So, number 6 is a narcissist preoccupied with the fantasies of the perfect mate and success. So narcissists tend to think excessively about achieving power and success and respect from others, especially from powerful people. Research has shown that narcissists place a lot of emphasis on someone's appearance and how that person can be an advantage to them. So for example, if someone has, if they're beautiful or they're rich or something that the narcissist would like, that is very important to them, and because it raises their own self-image. In my case, my ex looked at things, as they all do, that could be advantageous to him, and he saw an advantage that I was a younger partner. I had a stable, good income, and he could have pretty much whatever he wanted when he wanted. So his perfect mate was provided for him with me, and the status he wanted, the house he wanted, the car he wanted, and it was certainly not an advantage for me, that's for sure. So next, a narcissist is envious of others, and he believes that others are envious of him or them. Narcissists are constantly comparing themselves to others, and especially successful people. They can trigger, this can trigger envy in them. And if they do succeed in something in their lives, they feel that satisfaction that others are jealous of them and envious of them. So number 8 is a narcissist is arrogant, has a very arrogant manner, and arrogance can be defined as a trait that is obnoxiously elevated self-worth. They act superior, they feel more worthy than other people, and they're more important. They disrespect others and put others down constantly. This was my ex. He always believed that he was smarter than anyone else. And especially when it came to his job, he also despised women, and this took years for me to figure that one out. Now that I see that it was really obvious, he spoke negatively about his female boss, and eventually she caught on to who he was, and she let him go from that position. He was able to manipulate things easily so that he was able to get his own way. He got expensive clothing. He would say things like, "I've never had anything, like that in my life." It was a way of getting what he wanted. He was very subtle about it, but he was very good at manipulation. One year he went on a vacation by himself to Japan, and it cost $6,000. I went away with the 2 children, a dog, and I spent $1,000. So this is true arrogance. So number 9 is narcissists take advantage of others. Their entitlement is combined with their lack of empathy, and it makes it perfect for them to take advantage of other people for their own benefit. My ex took advantage of me in very many ways. When we first got together, he would come over to see me when he wanted to. He would never stay overnight, but he would borrow my car, and he somehow managed to get me to pay for all of his meals when we went out. And I didn't think anything of it at the time. Of course, I can see it quite clearly now. Later in the relationship, he was able to manage to sleep in every day, and I had to get up with the 2 kids, get them ready, one ready for school, the other for daycare, while he slept and did whatever he wanted. I remember there was like a snowstorm, and I had to get up with the baby and my other daughter and get them ready for school, go out in this blizzard, shovel off the car with this baby and child, and take them to school and daycare. And while he slept, he didn't even get up to come out of the house until he wanted to. He didn't do any housework. He did no laundry. He did no childcare, except he allowed me to have 2 hours of sleep 1 day a week. So narcissists often take advantage of their targets financially as well. And my ex managed to manipulate me into working a full-time job, taking care of the children full-time, and also doing all of the household chores. So that pretty much sums up what a narcissist is, and I certainly can understand and see it clearly now, but at the time I did not see it, and it took me many years to figure out what was wrong. I thought there was something wrong with me. He told me often enough there was. And they have a way of saying things, and he was extremely intelligent so that you don't quite get it, like it's not full right in your face stuff. So this is who narcissists are. It's sort of on a spectrum. Some are, the qualities, they might not have as many of these qualities, or they might not be as strong as others, and some are full-fledged, right at the very other end of the spectrum, which is exactly where the narcissist that I lived with was at. So if you're listening to this, there's a reason you're listening to it. Maybe reach inside yourself, into your intuition, and ask why that is. If you are seeing some red flags before you enter a relationship with someone, and you're seeing some of these behaviors, and you know that they're not quite right, you can't put your finger on why, listen to this video again. And maybe you can see the characteristics in this person that potentially you're going to be going out with, and make a different decision about that. Or you're in a relationship and you don't know what exactly is wrong, but there's something very wrong. So narcissists are very tricky. They're very clever, but they aren't any more clever than we are. Those of us who are their targets, once we figure out who they are and what they're up to. You might already be gone from the relationship, and that's a very good step. But so you can find information here if you want further information and advice. There's I'll be making lots of videos, and there's information on my website, Instagram channel, and a Facebook about narcissism and how actually to heal from a narcissistic relationship. And I have done that. I'm doing really well. So I know that you can get free again from them. So let me know if I can help you. I know what it feels like to be with a narcissistic person. I know how it feels to be out of it too, and how to heal. So hopefully this has been of some benefit to you, and I hope to see you on my next video. Thank you.